Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our channel called The Three of Pentacles. We are the Three of Pentacles because we're three tarot card readers. There's one, two, and three of us. And we like to read on hot topics and world news and politics and maybe celebrities from time to time. And that's not our thing, but we'll do that too. And we also do personal readings as well. Kaila and Lynn are energy healers, and I'm a vocal healer. So if you need a song, I can help you heal from something. I'll do my best. And in this video, we are going to be reading about giants, were the real giants back in the day. When we say giants, not a giant like a giant person, like a big, tall, 15-foot person. So we're going to be reading about that and going back in history. But before we
Or
do
are
that,
we?
or are we? Or are we? But before we do that, I would like to officially introduce my Woo sisters, the beautiful Lynn and the beautiful Kaila.
Hi,
Hi
everybody.
everyone.
And my name is Barbara. And we like to read on for entertainment and educational purposes because we do go deep and we go on some sensitive subjects. In fact, when we do really, really sensitive subjects, you'll see probably a piece of the video here on YouTube, and then we'll direct you to go over to Rumble because
Our Rumble channel, yeah.
they be jamming over there. Let me tell you, they be jamming. And thank everybody for subscribing. We love that. Keep it up. Thank you. Help us get to 200 subscribers so we can get some more messages out there. And as Lynn says, the algorithms.
Yeah, by
comments,
liking the
help.
videos and commenting, it helps our algorithms to get us out there, get this information out there to share with everyone.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so we're going to be reading about these
We're
15.
gonna start out with the fittest flat earther. We want to
Yeah.
start out with his short, and
Yeah,
then
discuss-
just to kind of give everybody a little preview. Then we're going to kind of go into the Kandahar giant too. So, and we'll see. Probably end up having to pull and see how they're related to the Nephilim.
All right, let me take a look here.
I did add it a little bit faster.
Okay.
Giants,
High
just a
speed.
fictional character in cartoons and movies, huh? Sure about that? You're sure that these giant weapons found all over the world were just made for decoration? And that these artifacts that look like something most certainly just be something else? And things found like giant crowns and giant footprints just have to be someone's idea of a good prank? And that all of these newspaper articles from the late 1800s and early 1900s talking about 16-foot giants and 14-foot giants and 18-foot giants, definitely all hoax. And that these books, some as large as a grown woman, are definitely just decorative. And that the Bible, the oldest history book in the world, that talks about giants 80 times, was certainly just joking around. And if you're sure of all that, well, then you're most certainly sure that all these giant-sized doors were just the style of the times, and they would never make anything where you would have to lock it all the way at the top that only a giant could reach, right? And of course, you would have to be sure that all these hundreds of mounds found in America with giant remains in them, most certainly, again, are just a hoax. And that these giant skeletons found buried all over the world most certainly weren't covered up and destroyed by a certain well-known museum. You know, you're probably right. Sometimes I just let my imagination run.
Okay.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, what do you all think about that video? Before we pull cards, what do you think about that?
I've heard about it before, but I feel there's a lot of people out there who have no idea about these things. Them
Yeah.
finding, these skeletons and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Smithsonian destroyed
Smithsonian,
supposedly
yeah.
destroyed all of the remains that were dug up too. When you go old world maps, I tried to find some quickly before we did this, but I couldn't. But you go back to old maps, 1500s, 1600s earlier, you'll see certain areas. Let me bring this up and show you just how on even in the old world maps, the region of giants. And this is down in the tip of South America, down in Argentina. And this, look at how little bit of space there was to Antarctica,
Right.
which brings up a whole other story, huh? But you can see on maps, and this isn't the only one, but that was a quick one that I could find for everybody to share. So
So that was Antarctica and South America?
Argentina, yep.
Argentina. So I wonder how it looks. How does it look today? Is it a little? with wider space between that now, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I heard somebody say that actually the difference between Antarctica and Arctica is and the Arctic is Antarctica is actually a land base covered in ice, where in the Arctic it's just ice. It's just cold water ice. There's no land mass supposedly under it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, what do you feel in your gut? Do you feel in your gut that these big, tall, gigantic people really existed?
Yes.
You too,
And
Kyla?
You know, I feel Lynn has explored this a little bit more than me, so I'm kind of like neutral, like I'm just waiting to see what the cards have to say.
Yeah, I think that they do. I think that they do exist because
I wouldn't be
I
surprised,
mean
yeah.
I
There was
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
so much talk about different mountains and so on, and you know, having the faces and having the look of a person too. That one was interesting to me because I remember traveling and seeing those for myself, like seeing some mountains look really interesting, you
well,
know.
and
So
some of those I think are even old giant trees and stuff like that. I mean,
right.
girls know that I pretty much believe we're a lot shorter than we're supposed to be. And
It
when we
could
know
be.
the
It could be.
Elohim, you know, you got Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was a giant. I mean, he had like a pet lion that was like a baby cat or a dog to him and stuff like that. You see that in all kinds of things from back in the day of even
Right.
Gilgamesh. So,
And then if you look at some of those old pictures of our archaeologists and on these sites, they're like dusting off these big gigantic bones. That could
Yes.
be AI or it could be something fake, but why? And
well, and a lot of those old photos, well, unless they're making them look old, but those were finds. Like some of those giants were found in Illinois in the early, like around, I almost want to say close to World War One. Yeah, World War One. Um, I have another little short here too.
video that the flat earther put up, do you see all those like cups that look like cups
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
spears and
Yes.
Yep.
weapons and that
Yep.
type of stuff? And then the Bible even says, which is the oldest book in history, one of the
So they
oldest books at
say.
least. So they say. And they talk about giants there too. And a lot of people go by the Bible.
Here's what
So
I
it's
don't
like,
understand about that real quickly is that the Bible wasn't written until after Christ's death, right? But well, the Old Testament would have been before. But I believe like the Emerald tablets from Thoth are older than that. They predate that.
I heard about the emerald tablets. I don't know exactly what they are, but my brother was telling me about that. Yeah, the emerald tablets.
Okay, so what's your
So
question?
yeah.
And while you're polling, I'll play this other short for everybody. How's that sound?
So
Are giants real, or did they ever exist? Do they still exist? What do you wanna? How do you want to
We can
phrase it?
start with that.
I think
okay.
that's a good starter.
Are giants real or do they exist?
Giants definitely existed. Take a look at the size of around 100 years ago. Now imagine the size of these people around 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. They would have been 10 times bigger than this. The oxygen levels were way higher 1,000 years ago, so just imagine the size of these people. Now, what I'm going to show you at the end is going to blow your mind. I think these people were purposely wiped out. Why do we not see them now? What happened to their genetics? Why have they not reached this generation? One thing that you may have not noticed, which is the fashion these people are wearing. Why has humanity lost their sense of beauty and classiness? I have yet to see one obese person in any of these images, which is absolutely crazy. They look healthy, well-informed, and well-mannered. Humanity has truly lost their ways. Now take a look at this. Maybe this is why the Egyptians showed giant people in their artwork, and maybe their statues were the true size of these humans. I will never ever from these images that I've just found. Giants.
How's that?
Yeah, he's a nice tall one.
He's got a lot of pictures of taller, and those people aren't just like Andre the Giant, 7 foot something. These people in these videos, I mean, they're 12, 15 probably tall. What's interesting is they're, like he says, they're skinnier, they're fit, like, but some of the other ones, and I think just because they're artist rendering, they make them look so bulky and big and stuff like that, you know.
Right.
So
And I got pretty nice cards,
yeah,
Did giants really exist? Well, we got a major arcana
Yep.
in the first row, and that's usually a yes, and it's very well aspected by two sixes. Sixes are numbers that resolve things. It makes things happier. Makes things. It fixes things. It's a positive number, not the number that people think that it represents in those crazy, silly horror movies. But so I'm getting that they did exist in a unique type of way, because that's, and they were fighters as well with that Seven of Wands. Something happened to them because they've gotten to fight or war. They were probably somebody bigger than them won, or maybe smaller people. You see that the emperor, that he looks like a giant to me in that chair. Something actually, right? I
Yeah.
think something actually happened to them because the tables turned.
Yep.
The tables turned, and I don't know if it was nature or if it was war, but something happened to them. And according to the cards, they did exist. And cards are pretty precise when it comes. So it looks like they did exist according to the cards. They got into some wars and fights. There was a change, something switched around. It might have been nature, because we have the Empress and the Tower. And that's what I think. What do you want to all think by this card pull?
Just to bring up real quick, I do remember some people saying that you don't want to wake the sleeping giants, like that some of the mountains, like Kaila was talking about.
Yeah.
They're actually supposed to be asleep, and that they can be apparently awakened too. So that
Okay.
you might want to pull some clarifiers on that too. But go ahead, Kaila. What were you?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing as Barbara. I'm seeing them having to defend themselves with that Seven of Wands card, some kind of conflict, something switching around very quickly with the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower card. So something happened suddenly that brought them either to an end or to lessen the amount of them that there was, like to a big extent. So if they do exist, they had to go into hiding possibly or something like that. So it didn't become like the norm. So yeah, with the Knight of Swords even kind of gives that battling, that warish type of feeling. We have the Seven of Wands, we have the Five of Wands, we have the Knight of Swords and the Tower. All of them kind of signal some type of war, conflict, something happening suddenly to change the situation.
I agree. Do we want to pull clarifiers and see if they had to go in hiding?
Sure.
See if maybe
Okay.
they
Did they have to go in hiding? Did
still
they have to go in
exist?
hiding? Yep, they had to hide.
Yeah.
And he hides a lot of stuff this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I get a soft yes too.
Right.
And then I get the Queen of Pentacles. So how would you fit her in? Because if they had to hide, yes, they had to hide because he hides stuff, and that's a soft yes. And the Queen of Pentacles is a manifester. So I guess something manifested, something happened to make them have to go into hiding, probably.
Yeah. Well, if they knew that they were in danger of being wiped out.
Yeah,
Maybe they're
for
in danger of a female.
some reason with normally the Queen of Wands is not really a safety card, but the way these cards came, it gave me that sense of, this
Queen of
person is
Pentacles?
very focused on safety or physical safety. This is what I'm getting with these cards.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, they went into hiding. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. The truth again, that was at the bottom of the deck before. So maybe some truth is going to be coming out about, maybe it's already coming out just by seeing these videos. It's showing us what really happened. Because this is truth coming out fast and furious. And it's going to probably come out so fast that it's going to trip some people and, like trip them out. Maybe by then it won't even faze people anymore, because it seems like they're not really fazed by a lot of stuff anymore.
Hard to
You
tell.
notice that?
I feel like they choose not to see. It's like if they choose what to come to terms with or not. Because we have so much information that came out recently about a lot of what happened over the last few years, and some people either they see it and just choose to pretend it's not there, or or they don't see it at all.
Yeah,
Some of them are worried about the
it's the programming and you know how the movies they'll show giants and stuff like that and we just kind of blow it off. I think, you know, they've told us they're here. I mean, the Paul Bunyan story. Solo's gonna start chiming in now.
The soul like Paul Bunyan.
I don't know.
And for,
Is
for
it
the
Chinese?
viewers, Solo is Lynn's dog. Yeah, so
One of
if
10.
he's always welcome, don't worry.
Beautiful Labrador.
Okay,
Yes.
so do we want to go to the next giant story, which is actually 23 years ago in Kandahar?
Sure.
And
Let's
we'll
do
work
it.
on that
Let's
because
do it.
I think we're probably going to have to bring the Nephilim into this because those, supposedly going back to the Bible, the Nephilim were the first giants, which were Elohim's breeding with human females. And that's how we're supposed to have gotten the Nephilim, are supposed to be humanoid
And Elohim, for the people
Elohim.
that don't know what the Elohim is.
The Elohim is well, in the Bible that's a little but to me it's an alien race that basically came down to earth to, or it could go back to Sumerian times when you had the two brothers fighting over people. But the Elohim, according to Mauro Biglino and Paul Wallace, and they've done a lot of translations, the Elohim were many godlike figures that came from the skies with their flying vehicles and stuff like that. Really, that's a whole other video. I don't want to go too deep into it. If people want to look into it, go look up Paul Wallace on YouTube. He's got that playlist. His playlist, his interviews with Mauro Biglino about the translations of the Bible with the Nephilim and stuff like that.
And speaking about the Elohim, we did a video before on this. We can put it in the description if you're interested in looking at that one as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. So this one, let's start with Kandahar. And I had heard about this some time ago before as well. This was posted originally by the fittest flat earther. Is that what he's called, Barbara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flat
And,
Earther. Flat Earther.
Flat earther, yeah. And who was the first video that we just played, actually. So in 2002, an elite tactical team was said to have been killed by the Kandahar giant, who was 13 feet tall. And the giant was one of the special forces. So supposedly there were two, I think, and one was killed. And now they're saying one might have been captured. I think that's the one we just played. Get back up. Hold on, excuse me, here we Giant of Kandahar. Did I play this one already? No, I didn't play this one, did
I
I?
don't believe so, no.
Okay, let's play this one to give you guys an idea of what they said about what happened in Kandahar.
Afghanistan, which shook the entire world. This incident proved what our ancestors have written thousands of years ago was true. The narrative says that a group of U.S. soldiers went missing in a remote region in Kandahar, Afghanistan. The locals had warned them that there were strange humanoids living in the caves of the region, and the locals still believe that 13 to 15 foot tall giants dwell in the area. A theory suggests that a group of soldiers gunned down a giant 13 feet tall, and the U.S. military is in possession of his body. If this narrative is correct, then we have found the conclusive evidence of the existence of those creatures known as the Nephilim. They are described in ancient texts like the Bible, but you will be shocked to know that other ancient writings also mention these giant creatures who once roamed the earth. And it is but the beginning. The whole truth is yet to come.
So it's out there. So let's see if our soldiers really did battle these giants, these one or two giants, however many it was, in Kandahar, Afghanistan. Let's find out about that. What can the cards tell us? What really happened?
Was that a drawing of him laying down there that
They don't have any pictures. They're not gonna let
Let
anything
them out.
release. I don't know. Those are just renditions from maybe soldiers telling the stories or what. But I mean, again, you notice how they make the giants seem so, and these creatures, I mean, they're giants. They're supposed to be at least part human. Why are we calling them creatures?
I guess when
I was gonna say there has been talk that some of them are cannibals, but
Yeah, so that can be kind of creature scary.
Yeah,
Yeah, out in the desert and you see this big old thing and looking at you and licking his lips.
ooh,
You're my dinner.
ammo for snacks and popcorn.
Hey, sir, you're my dinner. And then, oh, this creature. You know, you never know. I mean, that could be pretty scary. But maybe they're just people too. I mean, gosh, that is kind of crazy. This whole
And
thing.
there might be, like,
Whew.
as with everything, good and bad, right? So the Nephilim have never had a really good reputation from what I could tell. I think that's the whole David and Goliath story too. I believe Goliath might have been a little Nephilim or something like that too. But I think he was supposed to be cannibalistic too, as well, eating humans. So I could be wrong. I don't know. But um
I think they drew that giant with 6 fingers too.
well,
The one that we just saw.
they're said to have 6 fingers and 6 toes on each foot.
Oh,
And
okay, because it looked
there's
like he
a
had.
yeah. Yep. There's another little short that I had found on that with the Native Americans not wanting to deal from America with that as well.
Uh-huh. Wow. So what did we ask?
The question was, did they really battle giants?
Okay, I'm gonna put my glasses on for this one. Ooh, well, what jumps out at you first, Kyla?
So we have the Two of Swords as the first card. So there is something more to the story, I would say. So this news came in quickly and suddenly. It drew a lot of attention with those Eight of Wands there. There's a victory with the Queen of Swords just below it. I would say there is some truth to it. But it's interesting that we have Temperance. We have this is a card that usually says patience. You know, something's happening in divine timing, and then we have the Six of Pentacles. You know, aspected with the Queen of Wands as the advice. With the Sun card and the Nine of Cups, it's like if it is drawing attention to something, some kind of victory, it is drawing our attention to this situation with the giants. But I think there is a lot more to the story that they're not telling us.
I mean, with the Knight of Swords in the past, that tells me they were fighting, they were battling something.
I think
But
so too, yeah.
yeah.
And they were shooting a lot launching
Lot of-
weapons.
You could see a lot of bullets and everything with that Eight of Wands. I mean, it was, you know, even though we don't have our typical battle, the Knight of Swords is definitely, you know, charging into some sort of war. But yeah, you're right. The Two of Swords, there's something else that's missing, and
Yeah, and with the Three of Cups just below the deck, I don't know why I'm getting the sense that there were more. There
There might
weren't
have
just
been.
two.
Yeah.
It wasn't just two, there were more.
Could be.
And they don't want to come out with it because maybe it's just going to be too much for the public to understand or take in.
Yeah. Do you want to pull clarifiers and see if ask if there were more?
I think with the temperance, that kind of tempers things, it brings things
Yeah.
down. So I would say that because there's 2 6s again, we keep getting these
Yeah.
6s in these
Yeah.
pools with these giants and things. But I think what happened is that they initially they probably sat on it for a second to see if they were gonna go forward with it, and then they found themselves in the midst of fighting. And then it wasn't as bad as what we think it is, because temperance tempers things. It relaxes things a little bit more. It makes things a little bit more calmer. So maybe there was some type of truce. Maybe that's what the Two of Swords means. Some type of truce is like,
Truce.
you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone.
Interesting you said that because I asked for clarifiers, were there more? I got the Two of Cups, then we have the Six of Cups, which is a kindness card, and then Judgment card, a wake-up call. So it's almost like if, as you said, a truce or some kind of agreement. Maybe they weren't as, I mean, possibly they weren't
Violent.
as
Yeah.
violent as maybe people thought. They were able to have some kind of truce, as Barbara said.
Yeah.
Although I mean, we do have the Judgment card. This is something big, right? This is, something big happening.
Yeah, because look at that Six of Pentacles. That's a giving card. That's like I like you. I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna resolve this with you. Just as long as we keep our boundaries. You don't come to town because the Queen of Swords, she puts down her boundaries and she's very serious about it and she makes her rules and so if you know we can come to that agree to disagree. That's what the bottom row gives me. We'll agree to disagree. You guys don't come to town and bother eat people and we won't come out there and try to shoot you, you know, that type of thing. And I think that's the agreement that they probably made. But if they made this agreement, that means that they must have spoken the same language or they telepathically. That's
Why
really
wouldn't
something.
why wouldn't they speak the same language? If they basically lived there in that country and they lived amongst those people, why wouldn't they? Now, I do know in
Well,
Afghanistan, I think there's a lot of different tribal languages too, though, I think.
yeah, there's different dialects and different, and then who knows where these giants came from and where we came from.
I
So
mean,
if
these giants may not have been cannibals, so we can't assume that, they just said, "Hey, don't eat us and we'll do this," or give you money for not eating us or something,
Yeah, I
treasure.
mean, who knows the details? That would be a whole
Yeah.
deep dive.
yeah, they made some type of agreement according to the cards. You guys don't come to town and we won't try to come out there and shoot you while you're sleeping.
But are you saying that they made that with the Afghanistan villagers that knew that they were there, or are you saying that that agreement was made with the soldiers?
Let's bring out the pendulum.
Okay.
Hey, I like that. I like the way she said that. Let's bring out that pendulum.
All right, hang on.
Let's put that pendulum to work.
It's recalibrating. Hang on a second. She
Okay.
wants to recalibrate for this one.
We'll respect
Okay.
that. We'll put some respect on that pendulum.
Okay, what do you want to ask?
We're gonna ask Kaila.
Did they make an agreement with the soldiers?
Yes.
Okay, what do we want to ask about that agreement?
Were there more than two giants that the soldiers faced? Yes.
Were there three?
Were there three? Yes. Were there more than three? Yes. Was this really like a whole village of giants, essentially? Yes. Do they live in the
Did-
mountains? Yes.
How do they communicate? Did they communicate with words?
Do they speak a language? Do they speak the local Afghani language? Yes.
Okay. Were they
Are
Afghani
they-
indigenous?
Wait, hang on a second. Are they cannibals? No.
They didn't want to that meat anyway, huh?
I wouldn't want to. It's all vaccinated.
Yeah. Oh, back in the day, right?
Oh,
Even back in the
military-
oh yeah, that's right.
Military people
military,
are
yeah.
always, I mean, they were like the voodoo dolls for vaccines to
Yeah,
check to
yeah,
make sure they were
yeah.
okay. They were always the experimental ones.
I've seen a lot of that. So, are these giants? Are they kind-hearted?
Yes. They have humanity in their greatest best interests. Yes.
I can imagine there's some of them that are jerks, but
Oh yeah, like with any group that you're gonna have your good and your bad.
Yeah.
Are these particular giants by any chance related to the Nephilim? No.
because these are good giants. These are good
Yeah.
giants.
I know.
That's true.
Nobody mess around with those.
But I'm
Nephilims.
sure there's probably some good Nephilim. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
probably
yeah, I'm sure.
they're probably, I hate to say it, kind of more like the reptilians, and there's very few of them.
Ooh.
Thank you. Want to
Well, there you
recalibrate?
go. So looks like they actually, according to the cards and according to the pendulum, they actually fought this. They came came to terms. They came to some agreement. They spoke the same language. I mean, if the Afghanistan people were American, maybe they spoke. I mean, if the soldiers out there were American, because I'm thinking that those Afghanistan soldiers were American, right? That's what they said.
No,
So
no,
I
it's
guess
the American soldiers that fought these giants. It wasn't the Afghanis.
no, that's what I'm saying. So
Oh.
if the American soldiers went out there, I guess the giants spoke English to them.
No, they probably had translators.
Yeah,
There
there's
were
some like-
translators out there for the
Honey,
giants.
they had translators. Having had an ex-husband that was stationed in Afghanistan, they had translators for all the different. Yes,
Okay.
they
I'm
kept.
I'm gonna do a 3-card pull to see if they had translators to translate for the
Did they
big
use
giants.
translators to speak to them?
I got a queen. I got a 5, and I got a justice. Queen, five of justice. So, I mean, the queen came first.
Yep.
So she's emotions, and even sad sometimes too, especially with aspected with the five of swords. So maybe they did have. I mean, I wouldn't really know what to say with this. Maybe they did have translators. I mean,
Well, she's very focused on that cup, and she is someone who has a history because she has like all those childhood symbols and all that in the chair. So it's someone who knows the area, someone who's very versed in, what happens in the area, I would say.
Yeah. I mean,
so and I did.
I
get
know
my
I know
major
they
arcana.
used them, so, and usually it was
Yeah.
local people that they were using as the translators, so.
Yeah. And at the bottom of the deck,
Going slowly
So-
and carefully.
slowly, carefully, practically. Yeah, so I guess they were really practical with it. I'm sure that they had somebody out there to try to communicate with those. I mean, if you have American soldiers out there and then you see these big giants, and they were living out there in those caves, and the locals, of course they're gonna get somebody. Hey, get somebody to translate. I'm
So
sure
part
they
of
did.
the story was that one soldier was killed. Was it?
I think there
We
were,
also
there were a couple of soldiers that were killed in this, right? American soldiers? Yeah,
So they were.
they did. Let me ask this is probably, did the Americans start the fight? Did they just attack the giants because they were afraid?
That could have been the Five of Swords.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's what happens. You're out there and you see that stuff, and you get paranoid and you start shooting.
Yeah.
Well, did we have any other questions that we wanted to ask about this? This is interesting.
Do we want to ask if, since they weren't related to Nephilim, you want to pull cards or do you want me to do the pendulum? Are we supposed to be that tall as these giants that live in Afghanistan? Is that what humans are really supposed to be, that height?
I get the death card. It's a major arcana, and there's a drastic change.
That's
The-
transition.
This is transition. We transitioned.
Yep.
So there was a change.
Into short
And look-
people.
And look at her. Look at
Yep.
her.
There's truth to that.
And look at that.
Yep.
Somebody did something to us.
Honey,
Who
I
did it?
shrunk the humans.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Somebody was deceitful and
Yes.
trickery and just came in and messed us up.
Right.
I
That could have been one
wonder-
of the resets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It could have been. Yeah. Where they reduced our size. So how did these giants get past the reset? I guess maybe living underground.
That's a good question.
Maybe some of them got away and just got smart and got away, and the rest of us didn't. And they probably made them really
That would
small
explain why
because
they're still around, because they've been able to somehow or another escape the resets.
Go into hiding.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd probably be a whole other show. We'll go way too long if we start pulling into
yeah,
that.
That's
yeah.
true.
I
And then
think some.
of course they switched us over to we came from apes, we're
Yeah,
just
oh, yeah, of
small.
course.
We're
Yes.
not insignificant.
Right.
Well, I do know some apes, but that's not where we come from.
Nothing
but,
wrong with apes, but yes, as Barbara said, that's not where we've come
No, we
from.
don't come from them. No.
No.
That's not where we come from.
We come from
But
the stars, people. Come on.
But concluding here, I think we're supposed to be as tall, and somebody got in and did something to us. Who knows who that was? It could have been a Nephilims, could be somebody that wanted us small. And whenever you're small, you're probably easier to control.
Yeah. 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 Much easier, especially if we were as tall as them. And I would say the Elohim before I would say the Nephilim.
Oh yeah, the Elohim, I
Elohim
got
were
mixed
the
up.
ones that we know that we know. Well, we know from
That's what we
what
got in the cards.
I know from what I've researched.
Awesome. Okay, so hey, we know that the giants existed according to our cards. These guys went out in the war in Afghanistan and fought this big giant. They, shot him down, and some of the soldiers got taken out as well. There's a little battle there. Then somebody agreed to say, hey, look, this is not. We're never gonna end, this thing if we just don't. You guys are big, we're small, and let's just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And then Lynn came up with the question if we're supposed to be as tall as them. And according to the cards and pendulum, we're supposed to be, we were manipulated, some type of manipulated genetically to make us into small people. So we're the small people of the. All right. Well, thank you all for watching our video from the Three of Pentacles. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you have something that you want us to read on, please let us know. And also hit the bell button and comment and let us know what you think about the giants. Have you ever seen a giant? Have you ever dreamt about any giants? Do you have a different story? Let us know. Please write down in the comments because we love whenever you all share the stories with us. All right. All right. And Kaila's going to let you all know where we can be seen, found, and heard.
So we're on YouTube, Rumble, we're now on Instagram, and we have a Facebook community page, so please come across and join us there as well. Remember, some of our sensitive shows will only go across on Rumble, so be sure to subscribe over there. Remember, we will never contact you first for anything, so please beware of scammers. And thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.